All right, folks, we are back here to join the large group of Deadpool Wolverine reviews that I'm sure are already out. It's Sunday at this point, but the thing is now you've probably seen it or you've seen so many spoilers that you don't give a crap if you see it. But I think we should just go ahead and get down to business and talk about this movie. Warning. The following show features reviews from wildly unprofessional critics operating without the supervision of professionals. The thoughts and opinions held by these individuals are not to be taken seriously and do not come from a place of intellectual integrity. This show doesn't reflect the opinions of Criticless or its users. Viewer discretion is advised. What's up? What's up? What is up, everybody? Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Criticless Cast Unhinged. Yes, you're seeing this right. You're not hallucinating. I am back, barely. This is my corpse, very similar to a scene in this movie. I am just being animated by another individual. Someone has their fist rammed up my bunghole, just working my mouth because I have been gone for days at this point. I don't even know. It's been at least 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks now.
Been 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I've been gone. Yeah, someone decided to curse the shit out of me, and so just things keep happening. And every time it seems like I'm going to be back, I'm down for the count again. So, but I think I'm here and hanging on for dear life, and we can talk about that for a couple seconds. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce the usual Spud Specs. Mr. Chris Kaus is here.
Hello.
And Mr. Matt Verlack.
Hey, everybody.
Who you guys, I'm sure, have seen plenty of by this point with me being out.
Yeah, I've been around.
Big thank you to you, Matt. You definitely you held things down for us while
held down for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody's getting comfortable with me as I'm with them.
Right, exactly. Or they've just ran away.
That's actually more that's more the case.
Yeah, one or the other. So but yeah, no. So thank you for being here. And I guess, yes, a big apology for me for being gone so long. I basically, if you don't know what happened, was I was planning on going out of town for vacation, and we didn't tell anybody because we just kind of keep that under wraps until we tend to go out of town. But then right before I was going out of town, my appendix almost ruptured. And so then we missed part of our vacation, still ended up going on our vacation with me just jacked up, having like surgery wounds and drugged out of my mind. And then we ended up getting stuck in Utah on a layover, and then shit went downhill from there, and we decided to do a cross-country drive to get back home. And so it's just kind of been one thing after another, and I've been at home sick because on the cross-country drive, I decided to get sick as well. So it has it's been a freaking roller coaster, but hopefully this is the end of the BS, like I was saying, and going to be back and getting back into the groove of things slowly and surely and ready to get back. And so thank you for everybody that uses Criticless and is in Criticless so far and has just been keeping things afloat while I've been gone. You guys are the best. Just thanks for supporting us and keep hanging out. And I know it's just been weird not being around and on the platform. And if you don't know and you're a first-time viewer, Criticless is an entertainment reviewing platform for talking about movies and TV shows. And we are on Android and Apple, and we are a website. You can just go to criticless.com and go ahead and just review whatever you're watching. And if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, go ahead and leave us a review, because we actually already have about 39 reviews right now within the app, and we could definitely have a whole lot more. And I'm interested to see as it changes. And that is going to be one of the things that we talk about in this review. Since we were reviewing it so late and not early, we can actually talk about what some of you guys think. So we're actually going to be touching in on some of the reviews from you guys, our Criticless users, and kind of seeing what people think. And actually, one of the things I want to do is take a look at our most downvoted and our most upvoted reviews, because we have that option. I'm curious to see who got thumb blasted. So from here, I guess we will go ahead and get into our review of the movie. So if you have not seen the movie, you are safe. We are going to do spoiler free. Granted, I think the spoiler free is probably going to be pretty brief. If you are going to see this movie, you probably know what you're getting into. You're probably into the MCU to some degree, and you've probably seen Deadpool and or Wolverine movies in the past, and so you know what this is going to be. Now, granted, I will go ahead and say up front, one of the things that I think that they hopefully have been making it very clear is that this is a very R-rated movie. My kids have been seeing all the marketing and have been wanting to see it, and they cannot watch this movie. They have seen a lot of the MCU and even some of the, Fox movies, but they cannot watch this. This is very, very rated R. So
the hardest of ours,
yes.
for sure.
So many kids in my movie viewing last night.
Really?
Oh yeah, we'll get on that. There was in the first 20 minutes at least 3 families left.
Really?
And then at the end of the movie, there was multiple, probably like 7 or 8-year-olds walking out with their families.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how?
Wow.
Why? Why would you do this to your child? This is a hard R movie.
They should have known in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, not even. Been like, oh, no, this is not the place to have my child.
Right.
Some people don't care.
Yeah, some people don't care. I mean, so in other words, don't take your young child unless you're a piece of shit, and then I guess take them. So,
Facts. You're right here.
Yeah, shots fired. But yeah, so I guess one thing we can really do is blast through super quick our themes for this movie.
Yeah, man.
And we'll do the spoiler free. Like I said, this is kind of part of that. But as far as the themes, I mean, graphic language, violence, both of those things are maxed out. This is a ton, like of both.
Yep.
There are more F-bombs in this than I don't even, you could, somebody I'm sure has kept count.
They use the whole curse index.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Every possible word is used. As far as violence, every bit of violence is seen here.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to see it all. So they don't hold back there. Now, as far as nudity and sexual content, not exactly. This movie's fairly horny.
Yeah, full of innuendo.
Yeah, a lot of innuendo. So maybe like a bit
I almost
more,
want to
maybe
say a bit more, just due to the graphic nature of jokes.
Yeah,
and the sexual nature of jokes. Sorry.
Yeah,
and like the groping and things like that.
Right.
Would you say a bit more?
Yeah, I think a bit more.
Like dead center.
Yeah.
in
the middle, because it's not there's no nudity necessarily, but there's still a lot of
sexual
content.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not graphic sexual, but still there.
Sexual. Yeah. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And if I am coughing, I'm going to go ahead and apologize now, because that will probably happen from time to time, because I'm still holding them back. But yeah, so the political bias meter, I think, is none. They kind of skewer both sides. I mean, they, make jokes about the woke mob, and, then they make, your typical, just all types of jokes. It's kind of all here.
Right. It's across the board.
But as far as family friendliness, we've talked about that. No, absolutely not. Nope. Do not take your children to this movie.
Yeah.
This is a 16-year-old and up.
Right.
13 maybe.
Yeah.
But like not a kid.
Not outside of that.
Anyway.
No, absolutely not. So, all right. So as far as our spoiler free stuff goes, I guess we can go ahead and give our thoughts and kind of see where we sit with this movie. But I guess, what did y'all think? And what were you expecting? I guess either one of y'all want to go first?
Sure,
or?
I'll go first. So I saw this yesterday without you guys. I went with my oldest brother, and I really liked this movie. I was hotter on it when I left the theater than I was like come this morning.
Okay.
So I started cooling a bit. I still think it was the most excellent. I think I'd give it an 88%.
Okay. So still quite high.
Still quite high. And I think this is around where I would rate the original Deadpool also.
Okay.
There's so many cameos in this movie.
Right.
There's no way around it. We won't say who any of them are yet, but I will talk about that later.
Yeah.
And this movie is a fan service movie, which can be fine. Look at Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
I feel like the fan service was overdone, and it was great in the moment, but as I was looking back, I was like, well, did this need to have so much fan service?
Right.
And honestly, I was starting to get tired of Deadpool by the end of the movie.
Right. Okay.
And at first, I wasn't bothered by it, but as I thought about it this morning, I was like, well,
right. But you're still at quite a high score. So you still think you're sitting at like an 88 out of 100?
So it might drop a little bit as we further our discussions.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm still simmering on it. Xena was surprised too when I told her that.
Yeah.
But even when I was talking to Xena after, because she called me right after the movie to talk about
it. It sounded like she liked it a lot because she went with.
But then I started talking, and as I was talking to her, my score started slipping.
Right.
Too.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Chris?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm curious. I'm curious with you. I was really curious where you were going to sit.
You're always curious.
Yeah,
no, I really enjoyed it. I'm struggling between whether I should just rate this as a movie or if I should rate this as a Marvel movie, like in comparison, because there's been so many Marvel movies out there. It's definitely going to be like in the 90s, I would say.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, I haven't landed where in there. Like, there's so much enjoyable stuff in it. I laughed a ton.
Right.
It was entertaining. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an exact number right now.
Like nothing that.
But you're still saying most excellent.
Right.
Correct.
And no dislikes that are like jumping out that you're like, there was an issue or there's.
Yeah, no, because I mean, you can't take this. This movie is not a serious movie. It's not like you're going in here watching.
Yeah, it's not taking itself seriously. It's not taking anything seriously.
Yeah. Right. So any kind of bad CGI, I just pictured it as like that's a part of the joke kind
Right.
of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was very good. I enjoyed it. You
Sweet.
really have to enjoy Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Crude humor, violence, but it does that well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so with me, I think I'm still teetering on where I sit with this. I think
Yeah.
I'm still lower than both of you.
Okay.
I think I'm still in most excellent territory, but like at the bottom end, like
Okay.
81, 82, somewhere in there. Which is kind of where I expected to be.
Yeah.
And I might even, I don't know, like you, Matt, I could even see me slipping down into like upper
Sure.
rad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in an interesting spot with this and this franchise in general. Like Ryan Reynolds has kind of become Deadpool, like period. Like he is his personal personality is Deadpool at this point. And so there's that. You have to be on board for that, like Chris was saying. You have to be game for that joke. Also, when I saw that this was going to be another Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie, I wasn't excited. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't happy about it. I was actually kind of bummed. And so I will say that I think that this, if it's going to be a send off, is the perfect send off for him
Mm-hmm.
versus Logan, which I did not think was a perfect send off for him. I actually am not even crazy about Logan. I thought it was fine. I think it's overrated, but I think it was
Agreed.
a bad old man Logan movie. I think it was a good movie for what it was trying to do, but I think that the old man Logan comics are phenomenal, and it was not that, and that's what I was expecting and why I didn't like it. Also, it's just a very heavy movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch him go out in a badass way in a suit, and like he didn't. And so this, we get Wolverine in his suit. We get Hugh
Mm-hmm.
Jackman, actually finally suited up. We eventually at the end finally, well, spoilers, but
Yep.
I guess whatever. We get him in with a mask. I mean, they have a popcorn bucket with the mask, so we know
Sure.
we're getting it at some point. The question was just when.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's to temper your expectations instead of a spoiler. But I mean, so I don't know. I think it's just with these two characters in general. Like, I like Ryan Reynolds, all right. Like, I think the Deadpool movies are solid, but like you said, I tend to find them a little grating as they go on.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is actually liked one of the things I liked about the MCU was that it took superhero movies like seriously, but also done well, and it felt like the comics until MCU went off a cliff. But
Mm-hmm.
like it felt like proper comic books. And the thing is that Deadpool does that, but like that breaking of the fourth wall, I think kind of takes me out of that. And I'm like, oh, I'm watching a movie though.
Especially when it's done so often.
Right.
As
And they're
this
like
movie,
referencing the MCU,
Yeah.
referencing Hugh Jackman, referencing Ryan Reynolds, like
constantly.
yeah.
Right.
And so it's not that I dislike these things,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, I still think that this is either upper rad or lower most excellent. But I just think that like this brand of storytelling, this brand of humor and stuff is only gonna get so far with me. And so I think that that's kind of where I am, where I'm like, yeah, I like this, but like also like I'm ready for like a real like serious interpretation, like more comic book accurate, not the comic book accurate from this movie version of Wolverine, which we can talk about in the spoilers. But so yes, I think that this is a solid movie. I think that honestly though, there are going to be people that are probably going to dislike this. It's like if you are not into this type of humor, just don't even bother. Like
for sure.
and I think also like if you're coming into it being like, is this movie going to save the MCU? Probably not,
Yeah.
honestly. Like
Yeah.
probably not. Like because it doesn't really seem like Marvel is really basing anything that they do necessarily off of what was done in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get into too many spoilers either with that, but
Maybe.
with with Comic-Con, but that's the thing with how they left this movie. It was in a way that felt safe for Marvel to where they could attach their horse to it or could not.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, without getting into spoilers. So if Deadpool is not your brand, if Ryan Reynolds is not your brand, maybe not. But if you want to see Hugh Jackman as like actual Wolverine in a costume kicking serious ass in an R-rated style, then maybe watch it. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
y'all want to go ahead and get into spoilers, I
Yeah.
guess, from here. So yeah, spoilers all the way down, guys. Bail out if you don't want this movie ruined for you. And it's very complex. I don't even know how to talk about this movie. So many things happen.
I guess we're just gonna
but
be like,
we're-
what did we like and what did we dislike? And we'll
right.
probably miss things along the way.
Right. And then at the end, we'll
happens.
pivot back to Criticalist and where our users are sitting and what people are thinking about it.
Yeah.
And maybe see what the people that really dislike it, like why they are disliking it.
Yeah.
So because it sounds like, unfortunately, there will be some degree of a circle jerk here, considering we're almost excellent. So
Yeah, I mean, I've got a list of things. I'm like,
Right.
well, these are growing concerns in my mind.
Right. Oh, and I will say this as well. If you have not seen it, do not look at the cast list for this movie. It will probably spoil the movie for you.
True.
I mean, even just looking on Criticlist, like scrolling through it, it's like just scroll past it quickly because you will have serious actors spoiled right away.
Right.
So, with that being said, guys, bail out if you don't want the movie ruined, and if you've already seen it, then hang out for a few. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's dig into this a little bit more. So, let's hear it. Let's hear the thoughts. I mean, Matt, was your like shining star moment when you got Gambit in live action?
1000%. I went from 0 to midnight, just full staff, pun intended.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The second I saw that, I was like, just finally,
You like
finally. And
Channing's interpretation?
yes,
Yeah.
that was a perfect interpretation
so
of
good.
Gambit. His accent was perfect. Like, he was hammy, but in the best sort of way. Oh, that was the best part of the entire movie.
And I'm guessing Chris thought it was super goofy. Did you think he was super goofy, or did you like him?
I feel like the accent was a little over the top, just from like the X-Men cartoons.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like
I think it was a little
And that
thicker.
could have been
Yeah.
intentional,
I'm
even
sure it was.
because I mean that was a lot of the joke.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Annoyingly.
Yeah.
Like, I started ticking points off every time Deadpool brought it up.
Right.
Because I was like, bring it up once, fine. 4 more times.
Too
I'll
much.
take off 4 points.
Yeah.
More because
Right.
you just keep digging him in a hole.
Right. And
So-
they even gave him the staff. We got the
yeah,
bow staff.
His
Like,
fight scenes were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
He was putting cards in people and blowing them up, and he was powering his staff up and blowing people up left and right.
Yeah.
That was the pinnacle of comic book movies. Right there. That was the best thing I've ever seen.
And I know we jumped fairly ahead, at least midway to the film, but I will say out of that like grouping of heroes, the person that we did not fucking need at all was X-23. She could have just not been there at all.
Unfortunately, like,
Well,
you didn't like her?
No,
Or just that she didn't have a lot to
she
do?
didn't have a lot to do. She was just kind of pointless. I just don't.
it was the like emotional connection. It was
I
like
know.
Black Widow with Hulk
Mhm.
kind of a situation to get
Yeah.
Wolverine to open up and yada yada yada.
Right.
So, yeah, I didn't have.
I mean, it was fine. It was just like
problem with
her fight scenes weren't, or like her bits weren't that great in the fight scene.
Right.
I don't know if it's just because like her claws are so small and you can't really see them, and like,
Well, I think they should have done more with her.
yeah,
They should have leaned into her being a little bit more. Maybe cut out Elektra or something,
right.
and it just be the 3 of them, and she has more pivotal points or something like that.
Because Electra
And
was
I
kind of
feel
pointless too, but like,
he
Well,
was. Besides her just having a dig at Ben Affleck,
yeah,
like, that was
Yeah.
basically it.
right.
She's always been.
yeah,
Yeah,
What was that, Chris?
that movie was terrible.
not great, not
Yeah.
great. It was just watching her walk while she like shook her butt
Yeah.
the whole movie.
You remember the like Green Wolves? It was like the what was that
that
fighters? Yeah,
Green Wolves.
yeah.
Yeah,
there was like
he's
this
fighting
person that
some
could
like
summon
he's fighting
wolves,
like
but-
some mystical person that
don't remember
has
that.
like
Yeah.
summons like spirit wolves or
It was
something.
like
I barely
Shawn
remember
Levy or
that. I didn't
It's like the
remember that
fighter
until you
from
started saying
Mortal
it.
Kombat.
Yeah.
The guy who
Yeah.
can summon wolves.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's off topic.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that freaking Wesley Snipes was out of prison. I thought he
Oh,
was
yeah.
still in prison.
yeah. He's been out for a while.
Yeah, he's been out for like a decade.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Because he was only in jail for tax evasion. It's not like he murdered somebody.
that gray soul patch though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. So we're talking Blade then.
right.
Do you think he's coming back as Blade? Because the comments of
Right.
Blade never dies.
Right.
And then Ryan Reynolds looks at the screen and goes, I can't remember what he says, but
I don't even think he
basically-
says anything. He just like stares at
and
the screen after he
alludes
says
to that he's coming back as
Right.
Blade.
Right.
I'm trying to decide because I think that like some of this stuff they've done just to see the reaction,
Sure.
right? And it's like that scene, literally like that line, even especially you can do lines with Deadpool because you don't have to see his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have ADR'd that line and they could have added it in literally just to see. They're like, all right, this movie's in development hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if we just add this line in here and see what people do? And if
Mhm.
everybody's like, give us Wesley Snipes, like, we'll just do it. Like,
Right.
screw it.
Because that's all we fucking want.
Like,
I just want a goddamn vampire killing movie.
right.
No politics.
With the most badass dude ever.
yes,
Yeah.
just killing fucking vampires.
Right.
It doesn't need to be original.
Right.
I just want movie 1 repeated.
Right.
Just I don't need originality.
I don't know. Number 2 was pretty awesome.
Yeah, 1 or 2. 3 was meh.
Right.
But that's because of
Ryan Reynolds.
Which was the reason I liked 3 the most.
I know. I actually liked
that's
him in that
before
movie.
Ryan Reynolds became too much Ryan Reynolds. It was
Yes.
whenever he was still fresh.
But the second you go back and watch it again,
Yeah.
you're like, fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. He's
This is
doing the
just-
Ryan Reynolds.
He's doing a Deadpool impression,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is what it feels like now.
Like him
Well,
honing his chops. for
even
being
at
himself.
the end credits where it shows like the behind the scenes of
Yeah.
all the different
Yeah.
X-Men and yada yada.
Yeah.
He even shows him in Blade Trinity where he said in Blade Trinity in like some
Right.
interview there where he's like, yeah, I've just been channeling Deadpool. I think it'd be great if I could play him one day.
Yeah.
I always
Mhm.
loved it. It was like, geez, this dude literally is.
He just always wanted to be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
made it
so-
happen.
And it was funny. I'm glad they added the joke because I don't know who all knows this. I leaned over to Chris and said something to him about it. It was a very quick joke, but basically the fact that like they were in that movie together
Mhm.
and there was a joke where he was like, "You always hated me" or something.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is that like there's a whole bunch of news and stuff that came out that like Wesley Snipes fucking hated Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, really?
Like could not stand him. Thought he was the most obnoxious, like whatever.
Well,
Yeah. And so
Not wrong.
yeah, so they literally cracked a joke at it, and he's like, "Yeah, you always kind of hated me," or whatever,
Yeah.
like, which is good on them,
See, I thought that was something to do in like the comic books
right?
of like Deadpool and
Right.
just Blade
Just
not
Blade.
interacting well, because I
Nope.
could see them not working
Right.
well together as a team.
Oh, but just a real world thing,
Yeah, okay.
just another real world joke. So
not
that's
the
fair.
fourth wall broke.
yeah,
And
which they
I
do.
do agree with you that it's done too. I think it would be more impactful if they used it more strategically
Right.
rather than just slamming it over and over and like constantly, like. And
as far as how his bit is,
as far as
Deadpool
like
bit.
breaking the fourth
yeah,
wall.
or breaking the fourth
Yeah,
wall.
like
Yes.
it is done too much to
Yeah.
where it like takes away the fun of it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Which I've never read any of the comics, so I don't know how often he does it in the comics. But
Yeah,
that
I mean,
it's
he
one of
does it
his tropes,
to a
so-
degree, but I don't think it's even as much as these movies are.
Yeah.
I think these movies do it a little bit too much. Like, give us a couple bits, and it's like we can have some of the like real world jokes without him like borderline like looking at the camera and being like, "This is a real world joke," like,
Right.
or like this is a joke about me, Ryan Reynolds, the person playing this character.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was less of some of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there was like too many times where it's like, oh yeah, I wish Hugh was in this and things like that. I'm like,
Right.
I get it. You're being meta and you're being a fourth wall break, but it was just too often,
Right.
especially early in the movie. And it's just like, I'm trying to watch a movie here and you keep
Right.
talking about real world stuff. Like,
Right.
I want to watch a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I want to see you guys doing crazy shit, which I mean, the intro
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
was
yeah.
fucking
It was fantastic.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like doing the dance to was it NSYNC or
Yeah.
Backstreet?
damn.
I think it was NSYNC.
It's in sync.
I'm pretty sure it was NSYNC, and
I
like
say with
Backstreet
confidence
Boys.
when I don't know.
I feel like
You're the
Backstreet
one who
Boys-
went to their concert.
first
so-
concert I ever saw, NSYNC, baby. Very proud of it. It was awesome.
So then you should know.
I should know. I was a big NSYNC boy. Fuck the Backstreet Boys. They were bitches.
I
Facts.
feel like it was Backstreet Boys though.
Oh, you would be a.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
either.
I thought you were.
No, I
starting to
refused.
hype up the Backstreet
Yeah,
Boys.
bye,
But I
bye,
think-
bye.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Bye, bye, bye. Okay,
Yeah.
then that's NSYNC.
Yeah, it's in
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I said, I wasn't me either.
I was in the street
yeah.
dancing to it
Oh yeah.
when I was like
absolutely.
12
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
Absolutely. No Strings Attached was like the album, dude. It was
Yeah.
so yeah, no, the opening scene, the dance number, like the just killing people with Wolverine's bones, him
Yeah.
like wearing the claws, all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. Like, and I really liked all that. And like I said, I wanted a better ending for Wolverine. So like for them to kind of just be like, Logan's not really the end of this
Mhm.
character, I was totally cool with. Like,
Yeah.
I have no real
Sure.
tether to that movie. Because I actually think that the movie before that one, The Wolverine, was the best Wolverine movie to date, which was done by the same director, and it was in Japan, and it was just like the most
Yes.
comic accurate.
I forget
like
That
that movie was the shit.
all the time.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And they cut the scene, but that movie actually ended. If you have the DVD, which I do, it ended with Logan opening up a briefcase with the OG Wolverine suit in it.
Yeah.
And that just got us so excited, and then we got fucking Logan, and it's just
Mhm.
like, great, an old man washed up superhero version of Wolverine, like a dying Professor X. Like it's just, I just don't care. Like I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love it. I get hate for not liking that movie, but it's just like it's not how I wanted to see that character go out. And I always thought Hugh Jackman was like he did embody the character well, but like he's too big. Like he never was the comic book accurate version of the character. Granted, now that we can talk about the comic book accurate version of the character, he looks like a it's so absurd.
Yeah.
He's literally like the height of the bar stool.
So I guess with all that said, you would not be happy to see Cavalrine.
Dude, listen, Cavill is too big, but that was fucking sick.
Okay.
That scene was sick. He's
Get
too
a
big.
signals here.
I know. It's just because I love Henry Cavill, but like I don't really want him as Wolverine.
Yeah.
I would prefer maybe like there was a lot of rumors of Taron Egerton.
My money's there. I thought that would have been great. He's shorter, he's stockier. Like, do it.
He's a good size. A lot of people have talked about Daniel Radcliffe. Like seeing him ripped. I mean, it actually kind of worked, but like also would just be a little too goofy.
Yeah.
Like
he's got too many ties to
other big franchises.
Right.
We say that as they freaking cast what's his nuts for Fantastic Four and every other movie on the fucking planet. God, I can't.
Robert Downey Jr.
No, well, Robert Downey Jr. No, but I'm talking about them.
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. It was guy that plays Mando. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah. He's going to be the Mr. Fantastic. So it's like, they don't have a problem casting people that have associations too much. And obviously they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., which is official news today, except for he's going to be Dr. Doom. So
somehow.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Multiverse.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want them to bring Hugh back. And it sounds like Ryan and him are pushing for more of this.
That's my takeaway. I mean, they joked multiple times about how they're going to be here forever. Right. And I honestly thought the movie, that last scene was going to be like, hey, you want to join X-Force? Like, I thought that's where they're going to go and try to like push like an X-Force movie for the next Deadpool movie.
Well, and they've been doing interviews and stuff talking about wanting to do more.
Right. So I think there'll be more.
Well, he also said in that like last scene,
he's like, I doubt it.
Like, I don't think so, or whatever he said. Like, I'm not coming back.
I think that was to Blaine's point where they're speaking out both sides of their mouth to see which is working better.
Right.
And then they will be like, the next movie will be Wolverine and Deadpool 4 or whatever.
The only way that I am okay, they kept Deadpool's world alive.
Sure.
We know that by the end of this movie, is if they keep this technically separate and this is on universe whatever, and basically we have Deadpool and Wolverine, this version off, and then when they build out the X-Men, give us a new Wolverine and a new serious X-Men that is like grounded and like part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And like this Wolverine just stays like an alternate, like off with Deadpool.
Now that we're talking about it, thinking about it, so this Deadpool takes place in the Logan verse.
Right. Well,
which means
no, it doesn't.
Does he not? Used his pad to get there. That was his like first stop, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is just a totally unknown universe Wolverine.
That's why the TVA.
No. But the dead Wolverine they use in the beginning is Logan.
Oh, you mean
from Old Man Logan?
Correct.
Which means from the Fox verse.
That one's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but that means this was all taking place in the same universe as the X-Men movies, right?
Because
the dead Logan.
You mean the Deadpool stuff was taking place?
Yes.
The Deadpool stuff was Deadpool is part of the Logan Wolverine, like
which means
OG
that's part
Fox
of the original X-Men and all that, which means we should have seen more mutants.
Which I don't know if
it kind of did.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. The other thing though too is the X-Men universe is an absolute train wreck and always has been.
Sure.
None of it has ever been very cohesive. None of it, like we don't even really know what universe the movie Logan existed in because it doesn't really make any sense why, like unless they just time jumped way ahead to show us how he died. Like there's a lot of gray area in the X-Men universe.
Yeah, talk about making any sense because now that we're talking about it logistically, so Deadpool exists where Logan exists,
right?
Which means the mutants are all there, but then also so are the Avengers,
right?
But mutants do not exist in the Avenger universe,
right?
That we know.
Well,
Right.
which, and according now to Kevin Feige and everybody, mutant. Actually, no, we do know that mutants do exist in the MCU.
They just
Yeah.
don't call them mutants
Kind of.
because they never called Quicksilver or Scarlet
Right.
Witch mutants.
Yeah, that was before the mutants were technically introduced, because we
Right.
know that Miss Marvel is a mutant now,
Yeah.
which they released in that show, and they
Right.
literally played the X-Men theme song in it. But so they have kind of introduced it. It's all still kind of gobbledygook, like.
And it all needs to go by the wayside.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like I haven't said that yet, but you made me think of it. I was thinking it in my head.
That's what I'm saying in my brain.
Yep, in my brain, which everybody can hear. Isn't it? Shouldn't we just kind of like give it a break? Like find some new characters, like they were doing with like Moon Knight, and like
Right.
have these other cool things. Like focus on those other cool characters. Leave the ones that have been done to death at this point.
Right.
Literally, in some cases where people have died. Like just let's give it some time, and then you can reset with a new fresh face and
Right.
start from there. Like trying to instantly move from
In
Tony Stark to
game,
Tony Stark to Tony Stark to whomever,
Right.
or bringing back Wolverine multiple times.
Well-
Just like let's do a little reset here.
I am interested to see if that's semi what they're doing, and they're kind of like getting rid of some of these the legacy characters,
Mhm.
and they are giving us this next Avengers movie, which is not going to have the legacy characters basically, and then that it could
Sure.
maybe be a wipe after that.
Well,
So then they're doing kind of the opposite of what they did before, where
Right.
they had lead ups to the Avenger movie by everybody
Right.
having their own individual movie.
right.
So now they're just going to dump new characters on us in an Avenger style movie that
Right.
nobody probably cares about.
yeah, remember
So-
what happened with the Eternals and being
Right.
a giant
It
doo-doo?
could. You're right.
I wouldn't say
It
giant.
wasn't
I
great.
didn't
It was a
hate that
celestial
movie.
body of doo-doo.
It was not great.
I didn't
Pretty.
hate that.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but it was also not
It wasn't
great.
great, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think this Avengers movie is probably going to be more so like, I don't even know who would constitute the Avengers at this point, but
Well,
it'll probably just be all women, because that's all the heroes that they've introduced thus far. It's literally going to be girl Hawkeye, girl Iron Man,
Ironheart.
yeah, Ironheart. Her acting was atrocious in that movie. In the Black Panther 2 or whatever.
I mean, Black Panther. Oh,
Yeah.
Shuri.
Yeah,
or whoever-
it was Shuri. So
whoever
we'll have
took
girl
over.
Black Panther. We will have
Captain Marvel still exists.
Captain Marvel. Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Photon, or whatever her name is.
It's pretty much going to be like a all chick Avengers team basically,
Yeah.
and then X-Men and Fantastic Four probably.
Do you think they'll bring in new
Guessing.
X-Men for this? I mean, it's called, so the new one that they released the title. It's Avengers Doomsday,
I don't. Yeah,
and that's gonna be Fantastic Four related.
it will.
Well, clearly since Doctor Doom's in it. So.
Right.
I think there's a good chance we will have this next Avengers movie, and then it will be mostly Fantastic Four, or
Mhm.
whatever that one of Doomsday will be, mostly Fantastic
Yeah.
Four and these other Avengers that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And then in between, probably some X-Men stuff, and then that next one will be like,
Well, they're set a year
all that.
apart.
oh, they're that close.
I'm pretty sure that was like one of the releases.
I think it's
is
Secret
like
War.
25 and
stuff.
26.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think Marvel has no idea what they're doing, and I guess that
Right.
comes back to what we got to earlier: is that this doesn't really fix the MCU.
Right.
This movie is kind of just a joke, like, and it's a good joke. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's goofy.
it's fun.
Like, there's some excellent cameos. I think that Human Torch and having
Yeah.
Chris Evans back as Human Torch was
Oh.
freaking hilarious.
I think it was fantastic.
Yes, it was. There you go. Great joke there, Matt. Good job. Yeah, oh, God. Yeah. So I mean, I think that there's some really cool stuff. It's fun. What did you guys think of the villain played by
Cassandra?
yes, Cassandra? I don't know if y'all recognize her. She's from House of the Dragon. It's the lead chick from House of the Dragon.
Oh, I did not recognize her.
What's House of the Dragon? You talking about the Game of Thrones
Yeah.
TV show?
Do you not watch it?
I saw the first season.
Oh, you hadn't been watching the new season?
Yeah,
No.
same.
But yeah, the lead actress from I think that was her, was
Oh,
it
yeah, yeah.
not?
I have no idea.
Wait, no. You know what? That's who I was thinking it was the whole movie.
Okay.
And
And it is.
hold on, nope. It is the girl from Murder at the End of the World, which you guys didn't see. The show is terrible. Don't watch it.
Started
I've
and
seen-
then
she
dropped
looked-
off.
It sucks.
She looked familiar.
Yeah,
But-
it's Emma Corrin. Yeah, she's done not a whole lot. I was thinking she's going to be in the new Nosferatu movie. I
Hmm.
actually thought that it was the chick from House of the Dragon. So mistake. Sorry. I
I've
was
heard
wrong
of you.
about that. Yeah, but yeah. So what did y'all think of her and the whole like twin? Because she is a comic character technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked her up after
She's-
because I was with my brother, and he's like, who is this character? And I was like, I have no idea.
She's
And she came out in 2001, just so we know. Like, so she's 23 years old, character wise.
Yeah.
I feel like she's also extraordinarily powerful. I'm pretty sure she was like one of the top 10 most powerful beings in the Marvel universe, I think, if I remember, because I remember I'd gone to their website a long time ago and they had it all listed out. And
Right.
but I didn't have a problem with her.
It was a fine.
Yeah.
Just kind of another Marvel villain. Not bad, not great, not like she didn't like change the world, but also she wasn't bad.
The bald cap was atrocious. So that's my biggest beef.
I honestly didn't notice the ball cap. I kept looking for it.
It was like 3 inches taller than it should be.
Shaped head.
It's better than some of the ball caps that were in the Black Panther 2. There was some really bad ones in that one. Some of those ladies' heads looked crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember who it is. It was one of them specifically that I was just like, there's a lot of hair underneath that wig or under cap. But yeah, I also thought it was really interesting choice for them to make Pyro kind of a semi-lead character. I think that was his name, right? Yeah. From the old X-Men, like X2 and 3.
That was the original OG. Pyro.
Yeah.
That came back as like, he wasn't like a main character.
No.
Which I appreciate seeing him. Just a sidebar. I remember as a kid being like, Pyro was so cool. It wasn't my favorite, but I always thought he was cool because he was in the original X-Men series. Oh, the early 90s series. And I was like, oh, he's always so cool. And he never really was prominent ever again. Right. He was in the first X-Men movie, and that was basically it. In my mind, he's like a core member of like the Brotherhood. Yeah. And like nobody ever does anything with the Brotherhood. They were like important in the first 2 X-Men movies, and then like never again.
There was a lot of mistakes that they made in the X-Men movies where like they could have capitalized on really cool characters and they didn't.
Yeah.
But in X3 we don't talk about. That's not a real movie.
No, garbage.
That was one of the worst things ever made.
Yeah, I'm realizing that we have probably spent over half of this recording talking about other movies
things
rather than movies.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
you kind of have to. Though.
You kind of because that is the thing is this movie spends half of itself talking about other things.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of weird. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a hard movie to talk about, and so much happens from the second that it starts to the second that it ends. And I have seen some people complaining already because we're seeing it after the fact. I saw some people complaining about like the wasteland setting and stuff, and I thought that was really weird because there's not that much even in that setting. And I'm just like, why? And we'll see it when we go through the Criticalist reviews. We'll probably see a few people complain about it. I thought it was just a really odd complaint because I'm like, that Mad Max world, we're like barely in it.
Well, I mean, it's a good chunk of the movie.
Kind of. I mean,
it's just like one of the chapters.
But there's a lot of like back and forth between like other textures, other types of scenes where it's like, you know, they leave the wasteland area when they rocket off that boot, and then they're going through all those fields and they're in the woods, and then they go back to the wasteland. So it's not like it's the same dirt.
Right. And I was like, personally, I didn't even notice it for that long.
Right.
It was just the environment, and I was constantly scanning the background for things.
Right.
To be like, what can we find? Like, there was a pirate ship, and I was like, what was that?
Right.
I still don't know. I want to figure it out.
You know what it was?
What?
Pirate ship.
Damn it. I knew it.
You missed it. It was right there.
So close.
A question. How did Ant-Man end up in that negative zone? And why is he there? Is this like a joke about them killing off Ant-Man? Because it's like,
I don't know.
It's the multiverse. That's where all the
I guess it's just a multiverse version.
That's how I wrote it off. It was a variation of Ant-Man that didn't work out well, and they just killed him and put him there, and he's now a giant skeleton.
Also, for the TVA to be able to catch him,
right?
How are you going to catch somebody that's in the quantum verse? You know, or,
well, I mean, they could catch him in real world. He wasn't always in the quantum verse.
No, he's always there, man. Don't crush my dreams.
He's also not the smartest of heroes. So.
Well, that's only if you're believing the movies.
Right.
Because he's the actual creator of Ultron.
Right.
And
if it's the OG, Hank
Pym is like the creator of Ultron and is super genius.
Right. And versus the MCU version of Ant-Man is the second version. Scott Lang.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think all in all, this movie is solid. I don't think it's going to... I don't know. Like at the end of the day, we keep talking about it, but it's like I don't think that this is saving the MCU. I think that this is saving Disney's ass and making them some more money because they have a second success this year. But like you know, I don't know that this is going to stop them from continuing to dig into the hole that they've dug themselves into. But it was a fun time out.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting if they don't listen to the money. You know, like if all of these I guess ones that don't have a message. Well, I don't know. I didn't watch. What is it? The Feelings 2 movie.
Oh.
The one that made
Inside
a
Out
billion.
2.
Inside
That's
Out 2.
supposed to be a very message-free
Yeah. Okay.
Disney movie. So,
I assumed so
That's what I've
since it
heard.
made $1 billion.
right,
So,
exactly.
I don't know. Whenever you have these two movies that aren't doing that stuff and they're
Right.
just being good, fun movies,
Yeah.
then
Well,
are
and
making the most.
looking at the success of Twister, like the
Mhm.
movies that are doing well right now are the movies minus the message, period.
Right.
Like that is what is succeeding.
Yeah.
And so it is going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Now, but this movie is such its own little microcosm because it's so niche,
Mm-hmm.
but yet it's still going to make a truckload of money. But like I am really curious to see. I think that the critics are still going to be higher than. Oh well, I don't know.
I don't know where the critics actually will sit with this.
Yeah. Never know.
We weren't going to touch into Rotten Tomatoes. Part of me kind of wants to
I mean,
for a
we can
split
briefly.
second, but I mean, so we can go ahead and talk about with Criticlist. So our score right now is a 78%. We have actually had 2 reviews come through since we started this. So we had a 88 and an 80, and so judging by the 3 of ours will still be in that most excellent range somewhere,
yeah.
or at least rad for me at the very least. But then we have some 59s from Crisco, not this one, and Negative Zone gave it a 40%. But then we have a lot of our regular users like Jasmine Dragon, Divosaurus giving it like a 90, a 93. We got Dark Forest at an 80%, and Metal Fan at 100. So, but then, we've got people that have like 57, and actually right here is our most downvoted, as 6 downvotes is just joshing. He just says, it's funny how this is consistently making fun of the MCU's mistakes when this is a 2-hour one. And he gave it a 39%.
Right.
So he did not like it clearly. So, the reviews are kind of all over the place for this.
And it's true.
Sorry.
All right, everybody. We're just going to skip over to Rotten Tomatoes. So as you saw on Criticlist, everyone's kind of mostly loving it. There are, as you saw, a couple decents, a couple boguses. But now we're going to see what the critics say, just out of pure curiosity. Are they listening to the folks? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Okay, here we have it. 79% for the critics. And that's with over 300 reviews. Surprisingly, only 300.
I know,
considering
it's a little
this was
low.
going to be like one of the box office movies of the year.
And a 97% from their audience, which is interesting. And this is something that we touch on quite often, which is that their audience score still tends to be quite different than ours.
Yeah.
Because with us being at a 70 some odd percent, I mean, we're at a rad actually.
Right. Our audience
Right.
is more agreeing with the critics
Right.
versus the audience. Now, the audience on here says it's 10,000 people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Plus.
But
So.
I am curious as we grow if this will continue to be the case for us. Which I think obviously with our scale working differently.
Yeah.
I think that ours will be a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a freaking pass fail. It's
right.
Did you think it was a decent movie? Like, we're being more realistic with the scoring system. It's not just
right.
Pass fail. It's this was the most excellent. This is the best movie I've seen. This is rad. And, like, because this movie could easily be a rad.
Right.
I could see that, like, logically, like, especially if you're younger and you haven't seen all the Marvel movies that they're referring to, all the
and just
movies,
all the weird pop culture stuff.
Yeah, there's endless pop culture things here and there. Oh man. So as we watched, did you guys watch all the way to the very end?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the special thanks.
Yeah.
So were you reading those?
I was not.
One of them literally was like Bob the blowjob giver.
Oh my god, seriously.
Yeah. So if you're listening to us at this point and you haven't seen the movie, read the special thanks because they're actually funny. And I was sitting next to my nephew and I was like, "Did you see that?" And he did not see that because he also was not paying attention at that point. So I thought that was pretty funny. So
interesting.
Just throwing it out there. People should check that out.
Yeah, I found some other of our negative reviews. We have one by King Tippy, and he actually is even talking about.
So he goes in depth on his.
Yeah, his is too long to read, but it is very interesting, and it sounds like he's was not super happy about it, but he was talking about how early on he was like ratioed with dislikes, and it seems like that's the case, that people kind of like how we noticed that people were very passionate about Twisters. are kind of, it seems like people are either getting more comfortable with the dislike button on critic
I
lists.
think that's what it is. I really think people are finally going, you know what? I can downvote people.
Right.
I can actually express my opinion in a downvote form.
Right.
And most social medias don't have that option because people are afraid of getting their butts hurt.
Yeah.
And that's just, we've had, some comments in the improvement page being like, I want to know who downvoted me. I'm like, no. We want people to feel comfortable.
Here's
to
their
downvote.
address.
Yeah, right.
Right. Here's their name.
We'll
address,
dox it for you.
No, you can downvote safely.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's a smart
I
way
like
to be.
still having downvotes.
Downvote the
So-
left and right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have
If
no problem
you're-
giving a downvote.
If you really disagree with me on a movie, you're going to downvote.
Right.
It's just this. I don't agree with your opinion. I don't agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Blaine's the only person I've ever downvoted. And I'm sure it had to do with
It was probably,
Rim.
I was about to say, it's probably Pacific Rim. So,
The best movie ever.
but actually, one of our more controversial reviewers, Vex, gave it a 40%.
Yeah.
And she sits the same way I do about the Deadpool movies. Like, she's not over the moon about them, likes them, but like the second one, she was more disappointed with. I watched the second one recently, didn't give it a super high score, but I thought it was fine. It was funny because Chris and I watched some of it together, and the whole first act is the best part of the movie, which is what we watched together. But then I kept watching. I was like, okay, this is why I didn't like this movie that much. Like,
yeah, it goes downhill.
It goes downhill as it goes. So, but I mean, Vex gave this one a 40%. And then, so we have some decents. Everybody's a little bit all over the place, but I think by and large, it's still going to be a mostly loved movie. And this movie's going to make more money than God.
For sure.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
I think this will still be
it's already breaking records.
Yeah, I think this will be a box office hit. I know our theater was showing it every 15-ish minutes once you start factoring the 3D and the regular, which I saw it in 3D. This is the first time I've seen a movie in 3D since college. So it's been like 14, 15 years.
Now, I think that as word of mouth gets out that it's actually rated R, I think some of these numbers will dwindle down because less kids are going to be going to see it once people figure out that they shouldn't take their kids.
Yeah, but I think more people that want to see Deadpool because they just like Deadpool will go and see it. And there's plenty of people that are hardcore Deadpool fans. Funny enough, like my father-in-law, he doesn't like superhero movies. Hates superhero movies.
Yeah.
Deadpool is his favorite like hero movie franchise.
Really?
And it's because it is more meta and just not
it's
self-aware, and it's also not a super in-depth like superhero movie.
Right. And I think a lot of people are just going to be excited to see Hugh Jackman back because a lot of people like him as Wolverine.
Yeah, you got that crossover between, because I mean, just think about the other Deadpool movies. They've done very well. So add in on top of that Wolverine, and you're going to have, it's just destined to do well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the critical users by and large like this pretty well. The critics seem to be, liking it, but they're not like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Which is they're weird to predict. I mean, unless it's just the most like giant piece of shit, political pushing thing ever, that's the only way they're going to give it 100%. So, that just seems to be how they operate. But I think that this was a good return for these characters. It was fun. It's kind of a buddy cop movie. It's a very unserious fun time out.
Yeah.
And
that's it. It's just a fun movie, and you have to be prepared for a billion cameos.
Right.
And if you're not ready for that, then I don't know if you would like this movie as much.
I like, because it's honestly, it's like what Chris and I were talking about before the movie started, is it sounds like this movie does what we all thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be.
Yes.
And then all we got was like a handful of cameos that meant nothing.
Yeah, because they all got erased.
Right. And they weren't even like characters from actors that like with, the weird thing with Channing Tatum, how he was supposed to be Gambit forever and never was, or it wasn't like Elektra coming back or, Human Torch coming back. It was literally just like, oh, here's the only one I think really that everybody was kind of cool about was Patrick Stewart being back in like the OG
chair,
Professor X chair from the TV or the animated show.
Right.
So,
and John Krasinski as
but
Mr. Fantastic,
and he had never been that before. It was more of he was just kind of a fan casting.
Yeah.
So otherwise it was like, meh, so I mean, this was everything that we've wanted from the multiverse. So I guess in that way, this is definitely the best that we could have asked for them giving us the multiverse. Because if you're going to give us the multiverse, then freaking give us the multiverse. Like, give us the whole damn thing. Make it weird as shit. And that's what they did.
Yeah, that's what they did.
And kudos on them. And I think for that alone, I think it earns fairly high marks. So
yeah.
Cool. But guys, I guess that's going to be it for today. I'm glad to be back. I know I'm still not like super high energy and I'm fighting off coughs like God knows what. I mean, we were going to read a little bit more of y'all's reviews and stuff, but I am just kind of struggling to get through my words. So, I mean, I'm just glad to be here and glad we could pop in for a little bit and have a little bit of a return. I know it's later than normal. And next week, Matt, do you know Trap?
M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan's
ooh,
Trap.
I'm kind of excited about that. So hopefully my cough will be all gone by this upcoming week, and I'm excited to see a Shyamalan movie. And we've already done one by his daughter this year. So
Josh Hartnett's in it. I mean,
dude, give me
love
anything with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
all day, every day. Give me Josh Hartnett. He's
Yep.
the freaking man. So I hope that they haven't spoiled this movie by the trailers. I would say if you have not,
God, I've seen too many
I
trailers.
know they keep showing the trailer for Trapped. If you haven't seen it, but you're interested in Night Shyamalan movie, maybe don't watch the trailer for this because it feels like they're showing way too much.
I have not seen it, so I'm excited.
Nice. And I guess we can report next on our recording, like how much of a spoiler. Because I like now that we've all seen the trailer, except for Chris.
Yeah.
You and I can at least
We'll
report
know.
and be like, yeah, that showed way too much.
Right.
I mean, even like the trailer for this movie showed a major like fight scene towards the end because it shows Wolverine and Deadpool like queuing up to fight all the Deadpools.
All the Deadpools. We didn't actually even talk about all of the Deadpools.
No, we didn't.
Speaking of, I don't know if y'all know Lady Pool is Blake Lively, so
it had to have been.
That's
yeah,
had to have been.
yeah. It's
that would have been
definitely
dumb if
her.
it was. I half wish she'd pulled her mask off.
I do too. I thought that they were going to do it and then they didn't.
You know what would have been funny if they pulled her mask off and she was equally burned and scarred as
Right.
he was, but you could tell it was Blake. And you'd be like, that's totally Blake, and she's under the same.
That would have been really cool.
And if you commented on how ugly she was,
right,
right,
it's like, oh god,
yeah, that would have been great. That is one thing too with these movies is like some of the ridiculous insult, like deep, like some of them are just too much. I'm just like, Jesus, what's that string of words that just came out of your mouth?
Yeah,
they're just so absurd. But it's also very Deadpool, I guess. So like,
I guess
the mouth,
the mouth. So, anyways, guys. Until this upcoming week, we will see you again before too long. This was great. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad to be back. And thanks for hanging out all this time while I was slowly dying. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Ciao.